Okay, well guys, I screwed up. Well guys, I screwed up. So let's take you on my journey on how I'm gonna try and fix this. Okay, well guys, so on the screen, this T bracket right here, I need to shorten it up because as you can see up here, it's kind of hitting this extrusion, right? So I need to kind of lower it down. What I did was I pretty much aligned this Z screw bracket to the other ones over here, so it turns out I had a little bit more working space. Next, I had to shorten this extrusion. I need to lower this extrusion down, right? And the way I'm gonna do it is I'm just gonna put it in my mini mill and I'm gonna mill it down. It needs to be milled down 17 millimeters. So yeah, I gotta figure out how to get the G code on the mini mill because I haven't used it yet. I've built it, but I haven't cut anything on it. So this is going to be the first cut on the mini mill. Let's get started. Okay, so right here I'm isolating this extrusion. And then right now I'm going to trim this extrusion down by 40 millimeters. And then I'm going to get rid of this other side because I don't need it. And right now I'm going to make a sketch. I'm making a sketch right here. It's a 20mm by 40mm rectangle. I'm going to be using this sketch to create an identical rectangle like the extrusion because the extrusion has some complicated contours in it that I don't want in the machining tab. Now I'm going to switch over to the manufacturing tab and then I'm going to initiate the setup. And I'm going to set it so that it's relative to the part size. And after making sure it's relative to the part size, I set all of the offsets to 0. So right here, I'm setting the XYZ coordinates. I don't really know how to do this really fast, so I just had to play around with it. Right here, I'm doing a 2D contour, and I'm making sure that the open edge is selected, so I only select one edge. I just want to mill across this line. Right here, I'm setting my cutting depth and I'm changing my lead in and lead out just so that the tool doesn't come in at a diagonal because there's going to be extra stock sticking out. And right now, I'm going to select my end mill. And then right now, I'm going to go back and edit the feeds and speeds according to this FS Wizard application where I input all my settings. And then I'm going to be copying all the numbers according to what I input. Here I'll be changing the cutting feed rate, but when I change the cutting feed rate, it changes all the other feed rates and it makes it super slow. What I'm going to be doing is upping up the feed rate that's not the cutting feed rate so that I have faster travel movements, or else it's just gonna take forever to cut. So right now I'm going to check the toolpath on this part, and I made a mistake. I didn't add any extra stock to it, and so I'm going to add 10 millimeters extra on this part and put my XYZ coordinates on the stock so that when I put my probe on there, it'll home the corner of the extrusion and then come in 10 millimeters to cut. And then I'm setting the bottom offset to -1 millimeter so that I make sure that I cut all the way through. And right here, I'm going to be post-processing this into G-code, and my post-processor will be global, and so I have to find it and add it, but it's kind of not intuitive. You have to copy it, and then you have to paste it into your local, and make sure you select it. This way of adding it is kind of confusing and non-intuitive. And then all you have to do is name your file and click post. And then now we just have to put it in a USB stick. But first, let's remove this extrusion and put it in the CNC. Okay, so we can do the dry run again. So I'm gonna set the 0, load the file. Now, so by the time we got here, I noticed that the machine wasn't really as stiff because this adjustable chuck was too long, so I needed to take it out and put in a ER32 collet. And right here, I'm checking the tram for the CNC. I noticed the tram was kind of off because I already had done a bunch of dry runs and crashing the tool head into the parts multiple times. I need to retram the machine. So now we're pretty much good to go. It's not exactly the same, but I think it's good enough for what I'm doing. And now I just have to give it some more uggas and we're good to go. Here I set up a 1, 2, 3 block and basically aligned it against this machine edge right here, and then I used a speed square to kind of get everything squared up. I had to be really gentle here because I didn't want to move the 1, 2, 3 block. And I just tried to get the edge of the speed square to match the edge of the 1, 2, 3 block. As square as I can make it. I think that's as best as I could do for now. I'm not really a machinist, but I try to use as much geometry as I can. Let's get cutting. Okay, so I got this all tapped up. I did it all off camera. I'm gonna go put it back on. And then hopefully we can just continue on with our build. Oh, so I have to drill the new location for the new hole because this now is shortened by 17 millimeters, so that T needs to come down by 17 millimeters. So let's do that too. So I think my initial calculation for this was wrong. I measured this out in imperial to be about 600 millimeters, but it's not really 600 millimeters. I measured it again and it's 22 inches, 13/16. So that is roughly 580 millimeters. So if we cut off 8.5 millimeters on each side, and that means that I would have cut off 17 millimeters, but this is 580, so 600 minus 17, that would give us 583, but it's not. So 20 millimeters. Manually. Oh. So basically I did all that so I can fit that stepper motor there, you see that? Because before it was too low. That was a necessity. have the machine upside down right now so I can build the gantry. It's gonna go across from here to there and over there to over here. So it's a cross. You guys, this is the end of the episode for the problem fixing. Please like, share, and subscribe for more content.